Danmark for danskere!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a while. I thought I was going to talk today about burning books. So, as someone who identifies as being a nationalist, just like any thinking individual should do who believes in the right for the people of his or her nation to possess self-governance, the ability to commandeer their own future, and the right to protect their own borders, traditions, and values, shit like this is kind of insulting to me. This act gives me the urge to scream at this gentleman that he's a faced c***ling traitorous piece of who should suck the barrel of a loaded gun with AIDS-infected hobo shit. It makes me want to tell him that he should his grandmother's dried up until it tears while drinking bleach, or perhaps say that if he was on fire, I'd sit next to a bucket of water and take a selfie with him writhing in pain and anguish in the background. But I'm gonna be satisfied with simply saying, f*** this guy. Because I'm a Westerner. And as a Westerner, I don't live out my desires to punch this guy so hard in the d*** that he starts coughing blood. Instead, I vent my aggression through other means. Like making this video, for instance, because that's what I do on this channel. Any new viewers here might not be aware of this little tidbit of information, but Sweden is today clown country. It's governed by clowns who are voted into power by clowns who read newspapers run by clowns. So I just point this shit out here on YouTube and like an orphaned child I hold up an empty bowl asking, can I please have some sanity? But no, the reply is always no. So I ventilate. Not through violence, like some primitive lice-infested turd slinger, but as a Westerner. I ridicule and expose. I present facts and I make fun of stupid people. But a lot of people in Sweden right now are very culturally confused. They believe that, yes, we should cave. Like the acne-covered dork bending over with his underwear torn up into his lower intestine by the schoolyard bully. Yes, that is the tolerant thing to do. Surrendering. Being a little bitch. When a Dane named Rasmus Paludan
Rasmus Paludan
steamrolls into Sweden, not in an attempt to reclaim Skåne because who the f*** wants it at this point, but to simply set off the gigantic Islamic powder keg that today is the city of Malmö, clown country journalists betraying their own occupation say, yes, let's defend the people who are, through violence and riots, suppressing a person's right to freedom of expression and freedom of speech. I say about the burnings of Korans in Sweden, who the hell do these people think that they are, becoming so outraged? No one in favor of individual freedom gives a shit about the burning of their degenerate anthology. Any free individual in the West should be able to burn whatever damn well pleases him, which belongs to him, as long as he does so in a safe way according to all local safety regulations, and your personal feelings about the object being burned are completely irrelevant when it comes to the individual's right to burn it. This Danish provocateur is only doing it to piss off the Muslims. Okay, so what? Are they beyond insult? Are they a protected class, a privileged class in this country? Because there's a memo that I fucking missed. When did that happen? Also, I think this is fascinating. Where is the line drawn? Can I open up the Quran, I own a copy of it, and gently touch one of the pages with the tip of my dick? Would that be okay? It's very clean, I shower frequently. Or is it mostly the burning that is an issue? Fire does have its own symbolism to it, the purifying power of fire. We've burnt human feces, dead animals, witches, things that we know or at least believed to spread disease all throughout human history. And now a Danish, slightly pink man is torching a sanctimonious collection of gibberish in an act of defiance against these sickening sets of beliefs, held by a worryingly large amount of Swedish citizens, which has for years been spreading all over the Western world like cancer, effectively setting off one of clown country's many explosives set up all over this once unified and peaceful nation. And we complain. Not about the savages that are burning our cities, no, we're bitching about the guy who keeps lighting the match. That is how unbelievably lost we are in clown country. Personally, even though he is a bit of a goofball, I want to shake this guy's hand. First off, because he seems to be eligible for a Swedish citizenship due to his father being a Swede and him himself having lived in Sweden, so congratulations to that, I suggest you give it a thought. And the whole thing is actually hilarious since he's been given a 2-year entry ban into the country, which will be kind of difficult to enforce if it turns out that the dude is, or at least has the right, to become a Swede. The Swedish Migration Agency is currently struggling with this pickle with clammy and sweaty hands, and this of course is for 2 reasons. Number 1, he never fought for ISIS or raped any sex slaves, which would have otherwise given him a golden ticket to return to Sweden. And number 2, his pinkish skin tone is clearly not anywhere near brown enough when it comes to be handed a citizenship like a free hot dog at a baseball game. He's gonna have to work for it. But despite not yet having received a verdict when it comes to his Swedishness or lack thereof, Paludan plans on taking himself and his merry band all over Sweden and torch some more pedo preachings. Good for him. So as a defender of freedom of expression and freedom of speech, I salute this man. And I aim a long and girthy middle finger at his opponents, because here's the deal. What this man is doing is at the core of what it means to be a Westerner. It is at the core of why the West is indeed the best. The right to insult, to affront, to ridicule, provoke, and infuriate, all of these acts shatter bad ideas, concepts, values, and yes, beliefs. If insulting your dead illiterate cult leader sets you into a foaming rage where you just attack and burn cities, also known as Middle Eastern ATM machines like Malmö, which is in practice broke as yet still pays out millions in welfare benefits each year of other cities' money, primarily Stockholm's, then good. Paludan then excellently exposes the serious problem we have in Sweden. We have people here who, when getting their precious little feelings hurt, destroy our cities. They have understood absolutely nothing of what it means to be a Westerner. But they're just a small minority. Okay, so why care? Why do we care? Why all of these white Swedish women kissing the very book which would have them sheepishly following in their husband's shadow like a brain-dead possession? If it's just 10 butthurt Muslims setting trash cans on fire, why are you so nervous? Why is the cops acting like such good little dimmies pandering to Islamo-fascist bullshit? It's because they're not few, isn't it? It's because our government knows and our police force knows that if they don't play ball with people who threaten to and uses violence, if they won't get their way, they're not going to be able to maintain control, which I think is adorable, by the way, how the police in Sweden imply that they even have any form of control. The monopoly on violence in this country has been completely robbed from them. So steep even lower than your testosterone levels, dipshit, and burn my beloved flag. But I'm gonna torch a Quran whenever I need to get a fire going, or I'm out in the woods and run out of ass wipage, or simply feel like doing it because it is my right. It is all good. This is Europe. We lower Jesus Christ into a tank of piss and gaze at it while bobbing cherries up and down in fancy drinks at exhibitions in one of our many art galleries, because we're cultured like that. We've hammered a church into a corner like a beaten housewife who served us a cold dinner, and trust me, with guys like Paludan and many others who are coming out of the woodworks, Islam is next. This is an inevitable fight that is better that we take sooner rather than later. This conflict is not going away. The police top brass can stay busy pandering to violent scum with the emotional stability of a 14-year-old daughter with a shotgun, or they can carry out mass arrests and start deporting non-citizens, people with dual citizenships and a criminal record. It's their choice. Because here's my point, we can never, as Westerners, take as much as a single step back when it comes to this. Never. I hate slippery slope arguments, but Sweden is already slipping and sliding in this myriad of different cultural and political cesspools and giving in to tyrants in rip-off Adidas attire, who chucks rocks as soon as they experience a slight emotional tinge, will dig us deeper into the grave of our nation. Not a single step back. As in all situations in life, you don't back down from bullies, you hit them back. Twice as hard. This is pathetic. You know, law and order is an actual thing. It's not just a political buzzword to be used by ranchers running for office in order to vote farm scared old people who are terrified of being mugged. It is an actual thing, so enforce it. If you are holding people back from expressing their views in a peaceful manner because you fear what another group of people will do, they are the threat, not the person burning an object in a symbolic act of protest. And don't give me that bullshit about how it's always wrong with book burnings. Paludan isn't an entire goddamn government systemically sorting out forbidden literature, which is to be hidden from the eyes of the citizen in order to keep them dumb and docile. And you know it. People saying that shit know it. All of these wretched excuses for journalists in clown country claiming that we're experiencing the 1930s all over again, just because a hearty Dane torched a book, are so severely retarded that you should be obligated to wear padded helmets and mouthguards when moving around in a furnished room. If someone stood up on Sergels Torg in Stockholm and set fire to Mein Kampf in a demonstration against racism, no one would say shit about the horrors of book burning, despite both of the books containing just about the same amount of anti-Semitism. And now Islamists are sniffing at our constitution to see if it isn't possible to hollow out our freedom to express ourselves even more and make it illegal to burn holy text or speak or write provoking and insulting things about people's religions. One of the things that really annoys me about all this is that the most idiotic tinfoil hat wearing paranoid keyboard warriors howling at their screens about the sinister intent of all Muslims to spread Sharia law all over the Western world are seeming more and more sane by the hour. Just like the Bible thumpers who are screaming bloody murder over the idea of letting gays have the same right to express their love legally and get married to one another with the argument, well, if we let the homosexuals get married, what is next? Are we going to let pedophiles have their way with children? Marry children? Let people marry animals? Moronic arguments we merely scoffed at a couple of years ago are now through vile shit like the MAP movement and the constant sexualization of children in pop culture given this disgusting layer of validity. That annoys me to no end. And now we have Islamists who are corrupting Western constitutions and trying to shoehorn in some Sharia-like blasphemy laws. Laws which we as a society historically moved away from specifically because they oppress the individual's right to freedom of speech and freedom of expression. The freedom to insult, criticize, and protest. Before, we used to all see this clear as day, how wrong it is, but now, in clown country, the issue is so oblique, so multifaceted, so abstract, so complex. Drives me up the fucking wall. And thank the flying spaghetti monster that we now have a posse of imams on standby, more than willing to guide the confused Swede towards a future finish line where everyone can feel included, except for gays, Jews, Christians, women, and atheists, but everyone else will never feel the need to feel upset or insulted ever again, never need to question their beliefs, question ideas which have been spoon-fed to them even before they were old enough to have a coherent thought at all. What a beautiful fucking existence that is gonna be, right? Let the imams lead the way. let the imams lead the way to tolerance. Brilliant. I hope to see many more Qurans burn before this year is out. Torch the Swedish flag as well. You know, torch the flag that represents all of the rights, the privileges, and the freedoms that you've been given by the country that the flag represents. It's still your right to do so. It should always be legal to be an idiot, and it's a right that I will fight to defend, your right to be a moron. So enjoy it while it lasts, because if you don't fight to protect your rights, trust me, they will be taken. Having rights is not just a natural state of things. Some people have lived in peaceful countries so long that they've forgotten that. Learn about your constitutional rights, learn why they matter and why they exist in the first place, because your ignorance at this point in time empowers dangerous people who favor tyranny over liberty. But before the traitors, useful idiots, and Sharia fanboys have their way with the Swedish constitution and further disgrace it by criminalizing the previous right to criticize vile sets of beliefs, which have only poisoned and brought misery and suffering in its wake in every country that it exists, I feel that it is my duty to say, while it's still legal, fuck Islam, fuck the Quran, and fuck your feelings.